graders. Dr. Price is back for your second lesson for ELA. If you'll remember the last time we were here, we were talking about text structure and we were using the chronology version, which we've talked about is basically a timeline. What happens first, second, third, what happens on your dates first. It could be this happened in January, this happened in October, or it may just be that something happened at 11 o'clock and this happens at 11:30 and this happens at 12. So a lot of times you'll learn that timelines just aren't dates straight in order. They're just events that happen and you have to think about what you might want to put. So we're going to complete this timeline. Actually, you're going to complete this timeline as part of your grade using the story that we read last time. So I'm going to reread that story for you. 30 Seconds of Fuel. If you'll remember, it was about one of our astronauts, Neil Armstrong, which is the book you're going to read as we go through this semester. So that makes it, ties it into what you're doing anyway. 30 Seconds of Fuel by Teresa Baker. In July, let me say this first. While I'm reading it, pay attention now to the events of what are happening, when they're happening, how they're happening, so you can fill out this timeline in a little while. In July 1969, 3 astronauts blasted off for the moon. Their goal was not only to land on the moon, but also to walk on its surface. The journey from Earth to moon was quiet, and the astronauts were patient and calm during the trip. The landing, however, would be quite exciting. After getting near the moon, the landing ship named Eagle separated from the command ship. The command ship then remained in orbit around the moon. During the landing ship's descent to the moon, which means it was going down, that's sometimes a hard word to remember, the astronaut flying the ship made an announcement. Astronaut Neil Armstrong said, "The Eagle has wings." And that meant the ship they were in was starting to fly on its own. He meant the landing ship was flying well and doing its job. As the Eagle began its final approach, alarms sounded. By now, fuel was running low. Looking out the window, Armstrong realized that the terrain was not good for landing. The problem was that it was rocky and dangerous. The landing site was supposed to be smooth. There was less than a minute of fuel left for a landing. If they ran out, the Eagle would be forced to cancel its flight and go back to the command ship. Armstrong had to decide how to meet this challenge. Should he call off the landing? Ooh, that would mean that we wouldn't walk on the moon. That would be really not a good thing for us. Or should he look for another landing spot? So he had to make a very quick decision. He quickly chose to fly the ship to another area. Just seconds later, the ship landed in an area of the moon called the Sea of Tranquility. There were only about 30 seconds of fuel left. Armstrong announced, "The Eagle has landed." So, to help you get started on your timeline, we're going to come up here and we're going to use this first sentence. In July 1969, 3 astronauts blasted off for the moon, because that would be our first event that happened in this story. So, we can call this 30 seconds of fuel, because that was the name of the story. And we're going to say, I'm going to say blast off. And now, you may can remember, Dr. Price can't always remember, so I'm going to go here. In July 1969, just want to make sure I get the right date. 3 astronauts blasted off. And I'm probably probably gonna put for the moon on here, cause we would want to know where they were headed. Now, your job is going to be to complete the timeline. Now, we're gonna ask you for only 5 events. 5. Dr. Price gave you one, and she's gonna give you another one in just a second. But 5 events, and if you're really brave, you could come up with 8, and that would show us that you really, really tried hard. So you can do all 8, but we want you to do at least 5. So I'm gonna look back at my story. I gave you the first event, if our story will, there it goes. It was thinking a long time. And I'm gonna give you the last one. So the last one is basically the eagle has landed, and that's what Neil Armstrong said. Now, it doesn't give me a date that happened. It just says the last thing that happened was the eagle has landed. And I might even say that it was said by Armstrong. So I put it in quotes. And I would call this landing. Now you can call it anything you want, but that's just what Dr. Price would say. This was the blast off, this was a landing. And it's your job to give us at least 3 events that happened between the time it blasted off, or the astronauts did, and the time that the eagle actually landed. And again, you can make 8, you can make this landing be 8, and you can fill in more spots. We don't care as long as you give us 5 events. And then we will have you take a picture of that, email it to your teacher so that they can give you a grade on it. We appreciate all you're doing and want you to keep learning from home, and we will see you soon.